The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff or management of Visionary Related Entertainment.
Aloha and welcome to Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where you'll find us talking story with Maui's nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out how they're working to support the needs within our community. Maui Nonprofit Notes is generously sponsored by Pacific Source. If you're building or remodeling a home, please stop by Pacific Source's Cabinet and Appliance Showroom located in the Waikapu Bayshard. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. During this hour, we share some of the experiences of our nonprofit agencies and just how they're changing lives, changing communities, and creating miracles of hope for those with needs. And today we're going to start off our show talking with Nancy LaJoy, who's the Executive Director of the Pacific Cancer Foundation.
Hi, Susie.
I'm supposed to say that louder, not softer.
Yeah.
Did everybody get that? Pacific Cancer Foundation. What does the Pacific Cancer Foundation do?
Well, we provide free support services for Maui's cancer community.
There we go. That's
in a nutshell.
That's in a nutshell, and it's all encompassing. Whether you have cancer now, whether you've had cancer in the past.
Sure. Survivors, supporters. We have caregivers groups. We have kids groups. Kids who have a family member going through cancer. So it affects everybody.
Is cancer as scary as ever?
Sure.
To people who get that. How many people? I saw something about 23 people a day are diagnosed with cancer in Hawaii, or 19 or something.
19. Well, the most recent statistic that I know of is 19. Yeah.
19. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot.
It sounds like a lot. It is a lot.
That's 19, and that's all kinds of cancers. I mean, that's your really serious ones. Your start. What is a startup cancer? The start of a cancer a diagnosis of a starting cancer at a starting point. What am I trying to say? It's not full blown yet.
Could be a stage 0, stage 1.
There's a stage 0?
There is some for some. There's a stage 0.
Well, there is.
Yeah.
It's got all the signs.
And, now, as we were talking about before the show, with genetic testing and things, there's a lot more awareness with people who are high risk,
Right.
So we do see that in our office, and we work with some high-risk breast cancer specialists that we bring over from Oahu twice a month, and that's primarily what they're doing.
I know there was a lot of concern when they first started doing the genetic testing. The people say, oh, I don't want to know. And then there's those who do want to know, but do they do anything about it? How's that working out?
One thing with cancer is it's a very personal choice, and it's really up to the person to think about their diagnosis, their treatment, all kinds of options and choices, right? And even, for your spouse, you can discuss it as a couple, but it really comes down to that personal choice, and how people feel about things.
Do you see a lot of people coming coming through that have gotten that reading from that testing that they're in a high-risk group and aren't sure what to do and asking lots of good questions?
Yeah, and that's one of the great things about having a patient navigator up at the hospital is they're advocates for the patient, they're great listeners, and their time isn't limited. So where they're, you get a pretty limited time with your doctor, sometimes limited time with the nurses, and there's a lot of questions that come up, a lot of concerns, a lot of personal issues about how a family's going to go through this journey, and that's what the navigator's there for, to help sort that out and to help figure out what kind of questions you bring back to the doctor, help people make their list, think about their choices, think about what they want to talk to the doctor about.
And the navigators are experienced people in cancer.
Navigators are very experienced. They're not only experienced in cancer, but they're experienced in community resources, and we work with a lot of the other nonprofit agencies and even some for-profit agencies to get people what they need to make their journey successful.
Interesting. Is there sometimes a next step once they've found out they're in that high-risk group? I mean, do some want to know more, be more sure that it's right, or want to? I mean, I think my first thought would be, can I get a second opinion?
Sure. A lot of people like to get a second opinion, but one of the things with the age of the internet is there's lots of information out there, right? People are inundated with information, and they're searching out information and resources, and that gets tricky too, because you want to make sure people are looking at the right kinds of information and going to valuable web searches and sources. And
Are there any kind of tips that you could give somebody to say? I mean, I always say if the second thing they ask you for is your credit card, get off of that site.
That would be a very good thing. But you know what? A lot of it comes back to doing some research and bringing it back to your physician and discussing it with them. And, sometimes people are cautious in what they want to talk to their doctor about. But I think it's great to let people know that, the doctors are very open and interested in what their patients are going through, the things they're interested in researching, and a lot of people want to research and find information about alternative treatments, thinking their doctor might not be interested in that, but doctors are, and they, sometimes if you're taking a supplement, the doctor should know with the treatment he's prescribing what else you're taking, even if you think it's a natural supplement.
Oh, I see.
Sometimes those can have effects with medicines or
Interaction can be bad.
interactions. Yeah, so you got to be careful about that kind of stuff.
And what if you're seeing a specialist who prescribes something that your regular physician has taken you off of, or said this medicine's better than that? Where do you find out which way to go? I mean, when you've got two physicians kind of giving you different advice, can the navigator help you with something like that?
Navigator can definitely help with that. They can help kind of sort out things in your mind and make some lists. They can sometimes go to appointments with people.
Oh.
And so they're there as a support system when people may feel a little tongue-tied in front of a doctor or a specialist, and be there to just kind of help advocate and help make sure the questions get answered so people really understand. Language barriers are another big thing,
issue,
especially here in Hawaii. We have a lot of big multicultural communities with lots of different languages, and you got to really make sure people are understanding their options and their treatments,
I know if I'm going to a specialist for something, I think of all these things that people have talked about who've had what it may be that I have, and I want to ask all these questions, and I make a list, and then I dutifully leave it at home, and I go to the doctor and I try to remember what I was going to ask, right? And then I miss 2/3 of them, and probably the most important ones, and I finish talking to him, and I come back home and I look at that list and I go, oh shoot. I mean, it's. I don't know why I do that. Am I afraid of what I'm going to hear? Is that a subconscious thing I'm doing?
Could be. Sometimes you feel like, the doctor has a certain, not necessarily agenda, but they have things they want to check with you on. They have things they want to talk to you about, and then you have your own things that you want to talk about, and sometimes there's just not enough time. Conversation might go a certain way, and you might not have the opportunity to ask things. That's why it's important. And, a lot of doctors now are great with email. You can email your questions beforehand. You can check in with the nurse. Really, a lot of doctors have really great nurses that are great on following up with the patients. Another great place to banter around some questions is at some of our support groups.
And you do have quite a few now.
And we do have quite a few now, and more with the peer-to-peer. So like our men's support group is facilitated by Peter Kafka, and he is a prostate cancer survivor. So he's not a therapist, he's not a doctor, he's just a peer who's been down this road and gathers a couple times a month with other guys who've gone down this road. And sometimes they'll discuss their, cancers are very unique. So it's really hard to say what worked for one person is going to be the thing the other person does. But in a group setting, people can talk about their experiences, their doctors, their specialists, where they might have gone for a second opinion, what feels comfortable, what doesn't feel comfortable, how side effects,
right?
All the relationships, all those kinds of things that,
And you're right. When it comes to cancer, the treatments are always different. The outcomes are quite different in some cases. Even for survivors, how they became or how they continue to be survivors, I guess I should say.
How they manage their survivorship, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's not it's not one of those things where, okay, yeah, I had cancer, I'm done, I'm over it. You're not really ever over it. And I say that from experience, although I don't live with it on my sleeve.
It's different for everyone, right? Everyone manages that experience differently because everyone's experience is different.
That's right.
Right? Their treatments were different.
That's right.
What happened with their families, their relationships were different. Their jobs, how it affected them at work.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they were running triathlons and things, and now they're not able to do that. We see a lot of people who are canoe paddlers who it takes them a while to get back in that canoe. Things like that.
Yeah, I have a little bit of trouble paddling a canoe because I have one side that doesn't have a certain muscle.
Mm.
I tend to go in circles.
There's a great group over in Kihei, the Mono Alana Pink Paddlers.
I know.
And
yes.
you know what? Those ladies can get you out in a canoe.
Yeah, that's true. But I remember the doctor saying, there's one thing you're going to have a little bit of a problem with. Do you row a boat very often? This is back on the mainland where you're rowing boats, not canoes, right? And I said, actually, that's not one of my big things. I had a lot of water skiing and things like that. And he said, well, you're going to notice a difference. You're going to find one side of you doing all the work for a long time, because it's just not there anymore. And I thought, okay, whatever. But I think the strangest thing was when I couldn't close a window level because that chest muscle was gone on the one side. It was, and then try to straighten it out. Yeah, right.
And it's all these little things that add up over the course of weeks, months, and...
Yeah, and here it is 40 years later, and it's still that thing is still the same because the muscle doesn't grow back,
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, it's not my story. It's your time. But given all of that, I would still do exactly what I did then, even though there weren't a lot of other options. 40 years is a long time ago in cancer life.
Yeah, things have changed a lot since then.
Yeah, and thank goodness, a lot more survivors out there. And is 5 years still the magic number, or are we talking longer now? For survivors.
Nowadays, people are actually considered a survivor at diagnosis and soon thereafter treatment. People are surviving a long time, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a great thing, and programs for survivors are developing, and they're doing more research on survivorship programs. So that's all expanding.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think that if there's a fallout or whatever from it, it's how you accept it and let it be a part of your life and not try to hide from it or overcompensate for it. Just it happened.
Sure.
It's like when you had the measles, it happened, or chicken pox, or a broken leg.
Everybody manages it differently, and it affects everyone different.
Right.
Emotionally, physically.
Right, and we seem to hear more and more stories of people who are in the longer stages of things, stage 3, whatever, who can still overcome. Whereas before there was a time when somebody said you had stage 3 or 4, it was like, oh my gosh, prepare for the end.
Bad numbers to hear, right?
Yeah.
A lot of what we're doing now too is working with survivors with a lot of these different programs. We have this 6-week survivorship workshop that we offer several times a year, and it's a great place to connect with other survivors as well as go through a variety of information. This program was developed at Stanford University, and we were lucky enough last year to train 8 leaders in this program. So we're regularly offering the classes. This session coming up, I think, will be our 3rd or 4th this year. And it's a 6-week session, so it sounds like a long time to commit, but the people who go through the program really value that experience of going through. It's taught by 2 facilitators. One of them is a survivor in each workshop. And then they go through a variety of things from nutrition to different kinds of emotional experiences, fatigue, relationships, jobs. They talk about, a whole gamut over the 6 weeks. They buddy up with partners and do different exercises. So there's a real connection with the people in the class. And that class has actually led to the development of some of our peer-to-peer programming. In our very first class 2 years ago, a woman said, I don't want to lose the connection with these folks. I really bonded with them over 6 weeks. So she started kind of our first peer-to-peer group that meets once a month for lunch. And just kind of, it's social, but it's also a connection to people who have common experiences, right? Things that they've opened up their heart to during this 6 weeks and built relationships around. And then from that developed our men's peer-to-peer support group, and that's been, going really well, getting the guys to come out. And I thought that would be a little bit harder, but it was really great that once we opened that up to see the men come out and look for that connection with other guys.
And so they really don't spend an hour or two talking about their cancer. It's their lives.
Right.
And this was an experience that brought them together, but it's not controlling their lives.
That's right.
Interesting.
Yeah, putting a real positive spin on being able to have new relationships with people who shared something common.
I gotcha. Okay. On that note, we got to take a short break, and we'll be right back with more from the Pacific Cancer Foundation.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where we talk story with our Maui nonprofit agencies and find out what they are doing to help those within their clientele. Do you call your people clientele?
Sure, they're clients.
Yeah, they're clients. Unlike Tim's, who's our students, teachers, faculty, all that. We'll get into that coming up in 10 minutes. So the Pacific Cancer Foundation, you've expanded so much since the first time I met you.
A lot of new programs.
Yeah, you have. This is a full-time thing going on. And I think you had one navigator for a long time, and now you were talking about navigators.
Yep, we have 2 navigators now, and we have a care coordinator. We have our nutritionist.
Oh, my friend Sally.
Your friend Sally.
She loves to come up with all these good things made with kale.
I'll bring her next time. Don't worry. We'll bring you some kale salad.
My office manager has gotten into eating kale.
Good.
And she says, no, I don't want any lunch today. I got this great kale salad I'm having for supper. And I go, what? She goes, kale salad, your favorite. And I go, how's it fixed? And she goes, I'm not sure just what I'm going to do with it when I get home. And then the other day she had something that was heated that was kale. And she forgot to turn it off in time. And I said, see, you don't really want to eat it anyway either. That's shame on me. But
don't knock it.
I know. And there's probably lots of good stuff in kale. And Sally would reinforce that if she were here. So
she would.
Sally, we're thinking about you if you're out there. Okay, you've got 2 other things you want to talk about real quick here.
I want to talk about in line with survivorship. We have Carla Jalbert, who is our meditation facilitator, and she does a free meditation group on Monday nights.
Okay.
She also does a few other little meditation programs for us. She is starting a book club, and that is coming up on August 9th, August 23rd, and September 6th, with the first book being called The Untethered Soul. So just like any book club, they'll read some chapters of it, discuss it, do some meditations with it, and hopefully have a great experience with that book club. And then the other thing that she's been doing this year is doing a meditation through the seasons. So every season she plans a special Saturday. The first one we went out in canoes over in Kihei and saw some whales and then did a great meditation on the beach. We did one up in the Iao Valley, and the next one coming up is at the Sacred Gardens up in Makawao.
Cool.
So that one is coming up on Saturday, August 25th. And I don't know if you've been up to the Sacred Gardens lately, but I love that place.
Really?
It's It's back behind the Hui,
Uh-huh.
and it's right on Maliko Gulch, and it's a beautiful greenhouse, and they have labyrinths up there, and it's a really special space. So we're looking forward to that workshop coming up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then?
Oh, Sephora. Let's not forget about that on August 4th. Sephora is a cosmetic and beauty specialty store over in Lahaina. And the folks over there at Whalers Village at Sephora have been really great about offering these makeup classes. They're called Brave the Beauty in the Face of Cancer. And they take about 12 people on Saturday, and they do about an hour session before the store opens. And they do a really nice job of laying out all the different products and teaching people how to put on different kinds of makeup and, really making people feel good, and it's been great to see, some moms and daughters going, and we've had a couple go together one time, and it's another great way to meet people and have that great bonding experience. They load you up full of products to take home, so that's a really neat thing. And all of these programs you can sign up on our website.
Now, this is meant while you're going through a cancer treatments and so forth?
It could be if you're in treatment or if you're a survivor. Sure, either or.
Try to help you feel as normal as possible, look as normal as possible.
Sure.
Kind of thing. And then always giving you that one step up. Look in the mirror, yeah. That's one thing I found. I don't look in the mirror very often.
Look good, feel good, right?
Yeah. And I don't know why I don't. I mean, I'll find myself think, when was the last time I really looked in the mirror? Because when I look in the mirror, it's not who I think I am. Anybody else have that?
Well, I think that happens when you're over, 40, 50 or something. You want to still think that you're 30? Where are we going with that? I feel it happens to me. No, I feel the same way.
We just write off Nancy here. She's supposed to come back in a couple of weeks. Oh, no.
No, you know what I'm talking about. You're 50 and you think you're 25 again.
Well, everybody thinks I'm in my mid-50s, so why not? Yeah. Should I must look that way to them. Maybe I think I'm 30. I don't know. Anyway, but and there are cases where it's a draining process to go through the cancer treatments and so forth. And so if there's some way to kind of lift people's spirits,
sure. I think all these different kinds of workshops help for different people, and everyone is welcome to take advantage of it.
Right.
Survivors, supporters, caregivers, family members. So it's great.
Is that Kimokea?
That is Kimokea on the cover of our newsletter.
I thought so. Recognize him anywhere. Doing his thing. Love it.
Yeah.
So now you've got, as we hit August, you have just all kinds of things coming up because September, October, November, that's your big season.
That's our busy time for fundraising, yeah. So August 12th, we start out with a golf tournament up at King Kamehameha Country Club. It's actually the Kimokea Foundation that puts on the golf tournament, and every year he does it to support Maui's nonprofits. So this year the Pacific Cancer Foundation is lucky enough to be a beneficiary.
Cool.
So we're still signing up golfers and looking for prizes, and we have some really great prizes actually lined up for this. Yeah. So
we're looking at Sunday, August the 12th.
Sunday morning, August 12th.
There you
up
go.
At King Kamehameha Country Club.
4-person scramble. Okay, and then following that we have...
we're kicking off our Go Pink campaign in September. So we've spent the last month. The fire department and police department have come up with some shirt designs. We put that out to the community who voted on the designs they like best. We had almost 1,000 people vote.
Did you really?
On those shirt designs, yeah. So actually tomorrow we will announce the winners. And the Grand Wailea and the Weston Kaanapali were nice enough to give the winners some staycations over there. So a fireman and a policeman will benefit from that, and they're great designs. And
how fun.
We'll work on getting these designs printed, and they'll start to be for sale in September.
Okay. And then that culminates with the Battle of the Badges.
The Battle of the Badges will be end of September, and that's kind of the kickoff to the campaign, which is kind of officially in October. And the police and fire department have a friendly contest to see who sells the most shirts.
Who sells the most shirts and who hits the most
home runs.
Home runs. What I can't remember. What's the scoring now between the cops and the firemen? It's
I'm
like,
not exactly
I can't
sure.
remember either.
I'm kind of one of those everybody wins kind
I
of
see.
girls,
Okay,
yeah.
there you go. Oh, yeah, you got both of them going.
I
I'm
can't
with you.
choose between one or the other,
Yeah, we're gonna miss Jeff, who just retired.
Jeff
from the
just
fire department.
retired. Yep, he was a great supporter, but Chief Lionel is in there taking his
Yeah.
place, and he's been real involved with
He's
the
right on top.
campaign this
Good.
year. So we're happy to be working with him this year.
That's
and,
great.
and Chief Tivo's a great guy and gives us a lot of great support behind
Yeah.
this campaign as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, and then
And then our big Paddle for Life. This is the 10th year for our Paddle
it
for
really?
Life. Yeah. So our
Wow.
goal this year is to raise $200,000, Susie. Last year we raised $175,000. So we're up in the ante for the 10th annual. We'll take 350 paddlers, supporters, and volunteers over to Lanai in outrigger canoes. We'll take about 25 outrigger canoes over there, spend the night, and paddle back. They get
wow,
breakfast
That's
and
gotta be a
lunch
sight
and
to see.
dinner. We've had music. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And the cultural protocol that happens over on Lanai is really amazing. Ron Ponzo over at Nalos last year, his group made the Lei of Aloha. They made a mile-long lei that we brought over and presented to the people of Lanai, and that was a beautiful ceremony.
wow.
Yeah, really special.
You know,
Really,
I
really
think what I
special.
love about your fundraisers is there's always more to it than just raising money. That's almost like a side effect of the whole thing.
Yeah.
There's so much to learn and so much fun sometimes, and so much to gain, and like you say, the cultural aspect of so much of it. I think that's really cool.
If anyone wants to do an amazing life-changing experience, it would be Paddle for Life. People come once and they come every year. I mean, it's really is special.
Now, can someone just put together a team and sponsor it and get pledges and?
Sure, we have plenty of different businesses and hotels on island who sponsor teams. We have almost all the canoe clubs sponsor.
Yeah.
We have quite a few international teams that come. We have a team from Canada that comes every year. We have teams from the mainland that come every year. If you've never paddled before, you can join a team and we'll get you some lessons out there and get out there and have some fun with us. So typically paddlers will paddle about 20-30 minutes, and they'll do that about 3 or 4 times with their crews. So there's about 15 or 18 people on a crew, so everybody's kind of
Okay.
taking turns in and out of the boat, and it's a nice channel crossing to do. We do it early in the morning. It's just beautiful.
What's your small town in Ohio?
Fremont.
Fremont. Have you ever had any team from Fremont go and paddle?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think they do more of the rowing. There's a lot of the rowing that you see on the East Coast.
There you
right?
go. Okay.
More the traditional type things, some clubs up by the lake.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Lake country, it's paddling, and we're going to talk a little bit about that when Tim comes on here in the next half hour. But you don't have to be steeped in tradition to want to learn how to be an outrigger canoe paddler.
Not in this event, because you know what? This event is not a race. It's a voyage. And it's kind of intended to represent a cancer patient's voyage or journey, and how we all go together and we all support each other and help each other, and how it takes the whole ohana to get across that channel. And a cancer patient can't do it alone either. They need the support of their ohana and of our community, to make it happen.
Very good.
So it's pretty special.
Yeah, it is. I'm trying to picture all these canoes out there.
Beautiful, the colors and the people. A lot of the canoes have pictures on them of people who are paddling in memory or honor of someone. They're all decorated with tea leaves and, full of
Wow.
excitement. Yeah, and then we kind of wrap up the year with our big gala out at the Yokauchi Estate.
Right.
That's November 17th this year. So we have a great committee of people working on that this year. Pretty excited about that one. That's all starting to come together, too.
Gosh. So August, September, October, November.
Yeah.
November 18th, you take a sigh of relief, take 2 weeks vacation.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like
And
that.
It takes a little bit to clean up after.
Well, yeah, I suppose. It's called that paperwork and all that kind of stuff.
But you know what? Through it all, it's really just about community supporting community, and it's amazing the people that come out for all the different events that help us out, that support, the different businesses that support. It really is amazing to me.
Well, I think the fact that cancer doesn't play favorites. I mean, anybody can have it. I want to say get it, but it's not a kind of a disease. You have it. At least that's the way I feel about it. And because it's a non-discriminatory type illness, the person sitting next to you, or the person that was in the car next to you coming down the hill this morning, may have been through the same thing you were. You didn't know it.
Everybody knows somebody.
Yeah. A lot of somebody's it's getting to be.
Yep.
But the good news is the survivor rate's climbing.
Survivor rate's going up.
That's great.
Yeah, people are living longer, enjoying their lives, getting back to enjoying their lives.
Yeah, that's super. Nancy, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Any last-minute thoughts?
I just want to thank you and the community for coming out and supporting us, and please take part in our events, buy a Go Pink shirt, and visit us on our website, pacificcancerfoundation.org, and sign up for some of our workshops and classes.
If they want to get a hold of a navigator, phone call or email, what?
Sherry's number is 243-2999, and once again, you can just jump on our website, call our office, our main office, 242-7661. Sherry's office is located up at the hospital, right outside the oncology, right up by the emergency room. And walk-ins are welcome, self-referrals are welcome, so people definitely can check in with her.
Great.
Her in Chablis.
I guess if I have one takeaway from what we've talked about today, both off the air and on the air, it's if you're looking for information about cancer, you think you have a problem coming up or happening to you, be careful with the internet.
Be careful with the internet.
Call the navigator, 243
2999. Yeah, come visit us. Jump on our website.
Yeah, and go visit or just talk story about how can I weed out some of this stuff that's just somebody threw up there. Because you want the right information.
That's right.
That will help you so much more than a lot of the stuff you'll find on the website.
Face to face, real people.
There you go. Thank you very much, Nancy. We appreciate your help, and we will be talking to you a couple more times as you go through your fundraising season.
Looking forward to it. I'll bring some of my staff next time.
Oh, good. I'll bet you're going to bring Sally.
I'll try.
And is it still kale season, or is that...
We might come up with something better for you this time.
Oh, something better than
She's got a few things up her sleeve.
I'll bet she does. Huh? Rhubarb.
Sure.
Okay.
Eat a rainbow. That's her message always, right? Eat a rainbow.
Right.
Rhubarb's on the rainbow, I'm sure.
Oh, okay. That sounds good. Well, I'm ready for that. Okay. I got to look and see when you're up next. Anyway, thank you so much, Nancy, for joining us. And folks, cancer is still a scary thing, but if you know the facts, it takes a lot of the pressure off and lets you kind of go through the process.
Sure, we're here to support the community.
Great. Let's take a short break before we join our next guest.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
I think Tim likes the music. Yeah, he's into it. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, your weekly radio show where we talk story with our Maui Nonprofit directors and find out what's happening in their world. And this afternoon, we're going to talk some school talk, right?
Hot topic this time of year.
Yeah, it is. And it's Tim Cullen, who is the head of school for St. Anthony Schools. Last year, about the same time you were on, and I think you'd been in town for 6 days or something. uh, and some of the staff brought you in and said, "Oh, go for it." And you did such a great job. I mean, you were so into this new opportunity. I mean, you were just beaming about it, and I could see the wheels turning, things that you wanted to fix, change, do, and it sounded like you had the support of everybody going into it to make this the best year ever at St. Anthony's. And we know that the first year is maybe not always the guide mark that it should be, but it does kind of say something. The second year is going to be even better, right?
Well, I felt called to come here. I had raised my 3 daughters in the Midwest, and the youngest one was finishing her senior year at the Catholic school. I was running a K-12 Catholic school in Ohio, and I kept hearing a voice saying, just be open, because sometimes we get so busy trying to accomplish things and get things done, we don't take time to step back and just be quiet, right? And so I kept hearing that, not knowing what that was. And so, long story short, when I heard about position here, Maui was never on my bucket list. I house sat in Oahu for a month when I was teaching in Southern California. I thought, I'm 24 years old. When am I ever going to be able to spend a month in Hawaii? It was a $120 round trip ticket from LAX.
Wow.
I house sat for a lady that came to the mainland to work on her doctorate degree every summer, and her niece couldn't do it, so I raised my hand. I didn't tell her I was allergic to cats because I had to watch 2 Siamese cats that she had. So I'm not afraid to jump in when I feel called to something, but I did feel called here, and again felt the long-standing love and appreciation for Maui, but especially the St. Anthony School, Hana, and the work that's been done and the work that continues to be done there. So it's been a blessing for me to be here, and when you contacted me, I couldn't believe it really had been a year. So we're in year 2, and we've got a lot of neat things going on this year. Some new opportunities for families and students, and we've got a great governing board and a great group of staff and families that as we do the daily grind, we continue to look towards building the future. We can't wait till the future, right, to start laying those things out. So a lot going on, but it's all good work. It's all importance for the right reasons.
Terrific. See, that's the spirit we had last year, right? He hasn't lost any of it. Matter of fact, there might be a little more something behind it, because you know what it's going to take to make these things happen.
Right. We, one of the things for many schools, but especially private schools and Catholic schools across the United States, different demographics, and a lot of people will point out, what's going on and what's wrong. Well, I mean, back in the day, a Catholic school was really the only private school option, and you didn't have online schooling or charter schools, or even to the extent we see homeschooling, and those are all viable options for people, and that's great. So you can either admire the problem or you can find the solution, and St. Anthony's School has been around for around 180 years in some shape or form, and so we have to look at that and say, what do we need to do? When I came here, a lot of people were excited. A lot of people spent a lot of time and put money into the school to try to give it a refresh and give it a next step in the future. And people were, hey, we got your back, we support you. We know we can be great like we used to be. And my immediate response was, I appreciate the support, but we can't go backwards. So we can never go back to when we had X number of students. All we can do is try to be the best we've ever been. And that's really been our eyes looking forward and saying, let's be the best we can ever be. Let's remember we're a Catholic Marianist-sponsored school that is inclusive. We welcome people. I tell some parents you don't have to be Catholic to come to St. Anthony's School. And it's a place that we believe really reaches and teaches the mind, body, heart, and soul. So the core group of people that love St. Anthony made it easier for me to come here. And they're rolling their sleeves up, and we're doing a lot of work. This year, for the first time, I think ever, we added a second kindergarten class.
That's a good sign.
Well, it's hard to build enrollment when you turn kids away. So we had one kindergarten class, and past a certain point, usually around 23 or 24 students, we would turn people away because we didn't have another teacher. And what happens is you turn someone away, and so you miss out on that relationship you could have someone with for 13 years, right? If they stayed through graduation. And so it didn't make sense to me, and I tell people I'm not the smartest person, and I'm not really good at math, but if we turn away a total of, if we have 35 people that want to come to the school and we turn away 11 of them, that's probably not a good thing. So the board supported adding another kindergarten classroom because we felt confident that we would grow the numbers. And so, long story short on that, they gave the approval. We announced it. So today actually is our first day with students. It was a modified day to kind of wean them and the staff back into being in school. So we have 2 kindergarten classrooms. We found an excellent teacher. We have around 12 students in each class, but there's room for growth. We can go up to 20 in each class. Whether we'll get 40 kids this year, we don't know, but the opportunity is there. The second part of it that came with that was that we felt confident that we were going to keep many of our kindergarten students and bring new ones in to go into first grade. So for the first time ever, we have 2 first grade classrooms this year. And those classes actually have 14 students in each because of the retention, not as in holding back, but maintaining the students.
Continuing to attend there,
you got it. And some new kiddos. So there's no quick fix, but when you open up the funnel and go with a little bit of faith and trust and tell the right story, then it goes from there. So, and in second grade, we are now at a waiting list. We've got 21 students. We're supposed to cap at 20, but we miscounted something and couldn't say no to a recent family that we met and toured the campus. So we're at a point now with kindergarten, first, second, that we really believe that will open up more opportunity for families to come, not be turned away. And then in time, that'll give us that steady enrollment. So that's one of the new things.
That's exciting.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. I love movies, and I don't know if you saw The Greatest Showman, but it was a great movie, great music, and there's a song they call it A Million Dreams, right? And it talks about whether P.T. Barnum was a scoundrel or not. I don't know, but Hugh Jackman did a good job playing him, but it talks about dreams, right? And for every parent, when you have your children, you don't say, I want mediocre for my child. I want excellence, and I want them to be happy and cared and loved for. And oh, by the way, if you want a place where they can speak of their faith, whatever it is, then that's where we're an option. So I tell staff and myself and the students that you can't have dreams if you don't have hope. And hope means you believe that something can happen if you work hard and you be the most excellent person you can be. So there's a lot of hope going on. It doesn't mean we haven't had bumps and bruises along the way. It doesn't mean that every decision is perfect. What it does mean, though, is that we trust that by having integrity and sincerity with trying to provide the best for our children and trying to improve our facilities and all of that everyone can have that dream. And I said earlier before we came on that it doesn't matter where you come from. I came from a small town, and I came to Maui, and people said, well, it's kind of a small island, and I get that feeling. I get it. Where you come from should never limit your dreams and your hopes and what you can do as an individual. And I've seen that here, I feel that here, and I definitely believe it at St. Anthony School.
Well, that's great. That's terrific. I know earlier when we were talking with Nancy, I brought up your hometown. You were talking about a town of like 22,000 residents, and yet you've got, what was it, three professional football players that just, there they are.
Yeah, it's a small town that has deep roots and traditions. Sounds like Maui, right? St. Anthony, and families that care for each other, for the young and old. Sounds like St. Anthony. And a community that no matter what school you went to, whether you went to the Catholic school or the public school, you rooted for your town. You rooted for them to be successful. So we had over the years many athletes, individuals that were in other fields that had success. I don't know if you remember the movie Doc Hollywood with Michael J. Fox. It was based on a kid that grew up in Fremont, Ohio. That loosely based on it, but he, that wanted to be a doctor and had lived the lifestyle in California and found out small town is maybe something you come back to. So there's a million stories like that everywhere, right? And even here in May, my athletic director and I were able to go to Oahu. We were celebrating one of our own, Shane Victorino, who was inducted into the Hawaii Hall of Fame. So first time I got a chance to meet him, my wife said, make sure you say hi. She grew up in Boston. She was a long-suffering Red Sox fan. Now everyone hates them because they keep winning. But she remembers Shane when he helped the Red Sox win World Series, and he did the same with the Phillies. So small world, right? You have those connections. And so I think that, again, every parent wants their child to reach all the hopes and dreams that they desire. And our parents are a key resource for our school. They just don't pay tuition. They volunteer. They help out. They're involved, and they support us wherever needed. And they're allowed to have a voice too. Sometimes they don't like everything that's done, but they are heard, and ultimately they will respect decisions made in the classrooms because they know that the intent is to bring no harm to anyone, but to do the best they can to help each child move from their point A to point B.
Right. It's the opportunities that you're presenting to the students that I think in a capsule, anything's possible.
Well, anything is possible. I say we're St. Anthony's School, and we're small but mighty. Right. We're small but mighty, and obviously there's marketing and branding and all that kind of stuff. But I say that if we tell our story, and people check it out, then we need to honor that story and make it real. Last year, we did an initiative. I had done it in Ohio, and it came to me right before the Christmas holiday. We have our budget, we had desks, we had teachers, and I really was agonizing over families that maybe were struggling with where their child was currently at. The last thing you want is for parents to say, well, let's just get through this year, and then we'll find another school. So I asked the board for their support, and we did an initiative called Third Quarter for Free. And it was unique in Ohio when I did it, and a little crazy, and we did that. And we had a quick radio spots, and I think we put an ad, did word of mouth, but we said, if you want to try St. Anthony's School out for free for third quarter, you can do that. Now, we weren't taking kindergartners because we only had the one class, and we weren't going to take any seniors because you should finish out your senior year.
Yeah, right.
And so, and as long as the classes were reasonable, we didn't max out. So we threw that out there, and I told the staff, I said, if I didn't believe in you and what you do, I wouldn't offer that out there, because you can shadow a school and visit for the day, but to come for a whole quarter, it means that we're saying we believe in what we're doing. And so I think we had about 16 students that took that up, and it was a mix from grade school through high school. And I believe 15 then came back for the fourth quarter, and they paid for a quarter tuition. So, it just opened the doors up. And because we're a faith-based school, we really should believe that, we welcome the children. And we can't meet everyone's needs, but we'll do our best to meet the needs that we're called to provide. And because it is bigger than just the reading, writing, arithmetic. So we're doing some of those things that are a little different, and opening ourselves up, because the only thing worse than someone not choosing St. Anthony's School, in my opinion, is to not know us, to not even know the option, and that there is help with financial tuition assistance and what we really do. A lot of people just don't know, and so I give them the information, and then they can choose for themselves. So we're trying to tell the new story, I guess, of St. Anthony's School.
Correct. Well, I think one of the most impressive things I read in looking back over St. Anthony's history is the percentage of graduates that go on to higher education, and the numbers involved in scholarships for the education.
Yeah, the I don't know how many years in a row, but we take pride, but also we carry the burden that if you come to St. Anthony's School and you get that diploma and you're wearing the cap and gown, is that there's a 100% chance you'll graduate, but that also that when you walk across that platform, that you have a pretty good idea of what's coming next. So whether you're going into the military, if you're going on to 2 or 4 year schooling, if you're going on into a trade or something, that you're prepared for that you have that option. And being a smaller school and kids that are involved in all kinds of contests and activities, there's little individual attention you get there. And so our students, on average, our graduating classes do apply for and receive scholarship help, which no matter who you are, and I've put 2 through, and I got one that's going to her sophomore year in college this fall. It's not cheap, no matter what route you go. So we try to kind of pass that torch on to them, because we know when they go out there, they're going to impact the world and hopefully come back and share a story. If not, come back to Maui and be part of the community again. So.
Right. Well, you're certainly right in the fact when you say that St. Anthony's has a proud history of accomplishments as a school and as the graduates in their life and careers. We're hitting close to the end of our half hour here. I don't know what it is, but when you start talking, I just want to hear more. It's just because you're so into it. I mean, it's not a job to you.
It really is a vocation, and all of our staff, instead of an occupation, it's a vocation. We're just asking people to check us out. We've updated our website. It's a great place to go for information. So sasmaui.org. We want people to get the information, become part of the story. But it's easy to sell something that you believe in, right? And so I'm motivated by the students that walk through our doors. I'm inspired by the teachers and the support staff that do the work, and we're here for the community. And check us out. If you don't know us, check us out. If you think you knew St. Anthony from before, check us out, and we'd love to share the news story.
Okay, it's the 2018 version of St. Anthony.
You got it. We're a K-12 school, and the campus has never looked better. And like I said, we started school today. Parents came in with big smiles. I don't know why, and kids had their eyes half open. So that's part of that seasonal transition. But we had a great kickoff to the start of the year. Wonderful.
Thank you so much for joining us, Tim. Again, we've been talking with Tim Cullen, who's the head of school for St. Anthony Schools. I can't wait to hear more from you as we progress, and maybe we'll have to throw another one in and not just do it once a year.
Well, I will be here if you ask me. The story, it's an ongoing story, and we've got events and other things coming up. But I just thank the community for their prayers. The community is interwoven with many St. Anthony grads,
right?
And they have a deep place in their heart for us. So we appreciate that, and the community. We've got some things going on that could open up some neat opportunities for the community too, with some future projects in our campus. So
great.
I'll leave that teaser out there till the next time.
And I hope you'll share some of that with us in a timely manner.
Yes.
Thanks, Tim, so much for being with us. Again, that's Tim Cullen, head of school for St. Anthony Schools. Maui Nonprofit Notes is sponsored as a community service by Pacific Source, the builder's choice. Give Paul and his staff a call at 986-0380 or stop by their showroom in the Waikapu Base Yard on East Oahe Way to see how they can help you with your building project. Oh boy, today we visited with, who'd we visit with? Nancy LaJoy from Pacific Cancer Foundation, and found out what they're up to. We visited with Tim Cullen, head of school at St. Anthony School, found out what they're doing. And we just want to thank you for joining us and listening to what they have to say. Join us again next week, same time, same place, KAOI Radio, and try the new improved 98.7. Boy, I've been listening to FM ever since you improved it. I don't even pay attention to 1110 anymore on the AM dial, which is fabulous. So until next week, I'm Susie Tiemann. Well, probably even after next week, I'll be Susie Tiemann, the Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific and your host. Thanks for joining us. Have a great week, everyone.